Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, January 26th. A light wintry mix continues in parts of the Mid-Atlantic region this morning. There was mixed precipitation that arrived in the D.C. metro region late yesterday, 5 or 6 p.m. time frame, and then within a couple of hours it changed to mostly snow. They had maybe a half an inch or less of snow across the D.C. metro region. That precipitation had a lot of trouble advancing to the north and east to areas north of the Mason-Dixon line, virtually stopped by a very dry and cold air mass in place. Today we should see light wintry mix break out across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York, mainly in the form of sleet and freezing rain in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania, a mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain up across New York City. Arrives in New York City late this morning, probably within the next hour or so, across the Philadelphia metro region, pretty much pulling out of the D.C. area this morning, still near freezing in some of the suburban areas, so watch out for slick spots on untreated surfaces. Here's a radar loop. Again, you have some light snow now breaking out across upstate Pennsylvania. The pinks here and oranges, the pinks and purples represent a mixture of sleet, freezing rain, and then finally rain for the most part to the east of Washington, D.C. and pulling away. Again, watch out for slick spots, especially north of the Mason-Dixon line in those suburban locations over the next several hours. Temperatures still hovering around the freezing mark, so there can be some slick spots on untreated surfaces. Well, let's take a look at last night's 0Z run of the GFS model, and we have a lot to talk about after today's light wintry mix. We have an Arctic blast that will arrive at the end of the week, and the threat of a storm system Sunday, Monday time frame, and that storm could have a big impact in the Mid-Atlantic region, still many, many days away. So we'll see how that evolves over the next few days. But an Arctic blast is going to precede any storm system early next week. Looks like Friday morning, for example, could see temperatures near New York City in the lower single digits, perhaps 0 to 5 degrees in the north and the west suburbs of New York City by Friday morning. Again, a very cold air mass coming for the latter part of the week and for the upcoming week. And let's start off by looking at the 500 millibar vorticity field. We have kind of a stretched out area early today here, and that's part of the reason why the low pressure area over the Ohio Valley and a secondary over the Mid-Atlantic region are remaining rather weak. Only a light precipitation event for the Mid-Atlantic and northeastern U.S. as the vorticity, the upper level support, is rather stretched out. It slides on across the Mid-Atlantic region during the day today. And then here's that next system that looks like it'll cause a storm system to intensify quite rapidly near the Carolina coastline late tomorrow night into the early day on Thursday. Its precipitation shield will largely stay to the south and east of the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. Maybe it's a slight chance of some snow in the D.C. area late Wednesday night, early Thursday, but for the most part, it will have an impact on southern Virginia, North Carolina. Could even be some substantial snow in those higher elevations tucked in the southwestern corner of Virginia and northern part of North Carolina. Let's move forward. Here it slides into the Carolinas by early Thursday. And again, big storm will develop over the Carolina coastline by Thursday morning. And we'll keep the I-95 corridor region mainly unscathed, with the precipitation staying to the south across southern Virginia, North Carolina. But one thing it will do, this Carolina storm system will help to pull down a cold air mass from Canada. You can even see a large field of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere associated with that Arctic blast of air that's coming for the end of the week. It dives into the northeastern part of the nation. Could have some snow showers associated with that, and by Friday morning, temperatures again will be way down in the teens in Philly and D.C. suburbs, maybe the lower single digits just to the north and west of New York City and remains very cold to start the upcoming weekend, at which point in time we'll start to look at this next system that again hits California hard with some coastal rains and inland higher elevation snows, slides into the center part of the nation by the early part of the weekend, and then it'll may very well end up causing an initial low pressure area to go up into the Ohio Valley, and ultimately expect to see a strong storm system off the mid-Atlantic coastline by the early part of next week. We're talking about the Sunday, Monday time frame. Arctic air out ahead of it. This system has a lot of potential for Sunday, Monday in the mid-Atlantic region, but of course we're still several days away, and we've learned this winter that several days away is too far away to be certain by any means here, with the way the systems have tended to fizzle out or move in a different direction. Here we are by Sunday afternoon, a lot of upper level support with a lot of cold air in place, so we'll monitor that closely over the next several days. Well, now let's take a look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies over the next few days here. We're starting off a little bit above normal across the eastern third of the nation, but watch what happens after the departure of that Carolina storm system on Thursday. Here we are now Thursday morning. Remember, we'll have that strong storm system over the Carolina coastline moving away, and it helps to pull in a very cold air mass by the end of the week. Again, here we are now by Friday morning, largely significant below normal temperatures here by Friday morning throughout the eastern third of the nation. Very, very cold morning on Friday. Again, single digits in New York City, suburban locations, probably the teens down across Philly and D.C. Suburban areas. It stays cold to start off the upcoming weekend, and here it is, the forecast map for temperature anomalies come Saturday morning, still well below normal here, and then we'll watch as that storm system cuts across the middle of the nation and perhaps has an impact in the mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. Sunday, Monday time frame. Well, let's wrap up by looking at the surface forecast maps from the operational run of the GFS at 0Z. Breaking out now across southeastern part of Pennsylvania, some freezing rain, maybe some sleet mixed in, temperatures near freezing, and there could even be a breakout of some light snow across New York City by late morning into the midday and early afternoon hours. Up there, it'll also mix with sleet and rain by later today. Pretty much winding down now across the D.C. metro region. That all pulls away on Wednesday. Here we are, Wednesday morning forecast map. Basically a drying kind of a day in the mid-Atlantic region. And then that next storm system really intensifies rapidly off the Carolina coastline by late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Again, could be some significant snow in the higher elevations, southwestern Virginia, northern North Carolina with this system, and certainly the southern half of West Virginia as well. Winds will increase in the I-95 corridor, but the precipitation will remain generally to the south and east of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Maybe a little bit of snow in the D.C. metro region. We'll, of course, monitor that over the next couple of days. But as this continues to intensify on Thursday, the winds will pick up in intensity throughout the northeast, and a very cold air mass will follow. And again, very cold the temperatures to start the day on Friday, and high pressure will anchor that cold air mass right into the upcoming weekend, and that's when we'll start to look out west in the middle of the nation by Saturday afternoon. A lot of moisture will flood the middle part of the nation. At the same time, very cold air gets kind of locked into the northeastern part of the nation. It could result in some snowfall for the mid-Atlantic region by Sunday going into Monday. And again, there may be a situation here where an initial wave of low pressure goes up into the Ohio Valley. This is the Sunday morning forecast map, and ultimately a secondary should form off the mid-Atlantic coastline right here as we get into the early part of next week. This is the, I would say, the more progressive GFS forecast map for this scenario. Other models like the European model a little bit slower, but the GFS has precipitation as early as late Saturday night. Maybe a little bit on the fast side here. It tends to be a little bit too progressive of a model here, but nonetheless, the bottom line is We have a storm threat for the Sunday-Monday time frame in the Mid-Atlantic region, and there'll be an Arctic air mass ahead of it for Friday and Saturday and leading into the latter part of the weekend. Something we'll monitor closely over the next several days. For today, a light wintry mix in parts of the Mid-Atlantic region, drying out on Wednesday. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.